Welcome to Yankees Postgame.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Case closed.
NYY Recaps.
It is your destiny.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Good morning, everybody. Today is May 2nd. Congrats to Jack Curry, whose book on the 1998 Yankees comes out today. I listened to some of it this morning while I had my coffee, which I'm still kind of working on. And this mug is just for you, Aaron Boone. I want you to have a nice day. So, guys, I woke up several times last night, and each time that I did, I sat there reflecting on this team and just wondering if Brian Cashman or Aaron Boone or maybe Hal Steinbrenner was somewhere, and also losing sleep over what we're witnessing. And somehow I doubt it. So yeah, I haven't been awake that long today, only about an hour. I got up around actually 6:30, so an hour and a half. And it kind of feels like when you wake up the morning after a hurricane and there's branches everywhere, there's trash all over your yard, the power's out, there's a lawn chair on somebody's roof. It's not a pretty morning, and it's not a morning that inspires one to have a great day and be in a great mood. I think the general consensus among fans is that last night was a very winnable game and that we blew it. And more specifically, Aaron Boone blew it with over-managing again. I did go on a bit of a tirade last night. Something that's uncharacteristic of me for this channel. I tend to keep kind of a tight ship when it comes to being family-friendly, and we'll get into that. I got some voicemails, but it was actually pretty well received, I think, because a lot of people were feeling exactly the way I was feeling, and they needed to let off that steam. So it was actually one of my better performing podcasts in terms of subscribers and engagement and new members and things like that. So I'm not going to make it a habit. Don't worry. This is not going to be a channel that turns into a rant channel. But I do feel like it was called for. It was justified. And look, as a sports fan, if you've never taken a loss poorly, you're probably not as big a fan as you think. And I know that all across Yankees universe, as we like to call it, there's people who lost a lot of sleep last night over this team, knowing that not only are they in last place with a $279 million payroll, but we don't have a lot of ways to get better in the future. And instead of being confident in our leadership to guide us out of this chasm, we're pretty certain that they're just going to dig the hole deeper, because that's what they do every year. So we're looking at ourselves and we're looking at each other and we're saying, in this time of crisis, and look, this is not a real crisis. I mean, there are real crises all over the world, but in terms of a sports crisis, this is, this was supposed to be a favorite, a World Series contender. And here we are, May 2nd, half the team is on the IL and the rest are playing like doo-doo. Like doo-doo. James says Dominguez needs to be called up. And THG says he's getting ready for the morning commute. Scotto says just embarrassing at this point that Hicks is still on the team. Anyway, we're looking at each other and we can't believe what's going on. So I wanted to play some voicemails because we did get several voicemails last night, ranging in everything from managerial decisions to trades to we had some commentary on me and my little rant last night, which I can't wait to play. So let's start with this voicemail.
Hi, Derek. It's Simon calling again. Listen, I had an idea for possible replacement hitting coaches for the stupid schmuck that we have now. How about Alfonso Soriano, Bernie Williams, or Jorge Posada? I could see any one of those three being the hitting coaches. What do you think?
So I like the idea of Jorge Posada because he's a switch hitter. Alfonso Soriano, I feel like, was more of a natural talent, right? I mean, he was a wrist hitter. He was a reaction hitter. He wasn't like a 340 guy. I know that at least one time Posada hit 330 something late in his career, which is hard to do because he had to hit from both sides of the plate. You don't see a lot of switch hitters with those kind of numbers. You don't see a lot of switch hitters that are successful in general. He's a guy who knows how to hit for power, but wasn't considered a power hitter. I think his career high was about 30 home runs, maybe 31 home runs. I know for a while he was essentially the best Yankees catching home run hitter since Berra. Gary Sanchez outdid that, but no question in my mind that Posada was a much better player than Sanchez, which is why Posada's number is in Monument Park and Sanchez isn't. But I think Posada's probably a fair guess at the type of guy we need. You know, a no-nonsense kind of guy that understands hitting from a fundamental level. Now, Dylan Lawson, I don't want to disrespect the man because he is a professional hitting coach and he got there for a reason. But I want somebody who's done it, who's been in the major leagues and has done it before. And frankly, he just never has. A. Rivera says, Yankees fans should boycott going to the games until they eat Hicks and Donaldson's contract.
Hi, this is Booker. Please don't get excited about Bader coming back. Bader's not that good anyway. That's why St. Louis got rid of him. I remember last year, or maybe it was earlier this year, someone hit a homer to center, or hit a double to center. If Judge were playing center, he would have gotten that ball. Bader's overrated. Don't expect much from him.
Wow, going hard
Had
at
a good
Bader.
start with that.
Going hard at Bader first thing in the morning. So Bader wasn't even a part of last night's win, so we're no reason to go, or last night's loss, so no reason to go hard at him. You know, I think Bader's probably one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. I don't think he's overrated as a center fielder. I mean, he passes the eye test, he passes the metrics test. If people are expecting him to be the Bader that we saw in the postseason in terms of the power, well, he's never, quite frankly, done that at the major league level during the season, so I wouldn't count on that. I do think he will help solidify center field, and Aaron Judge will be able to slide back into right field when he comes back, assuming Bader stays healthy. But I feel like you're being a little too tough on Bader there. I think he's going to be a quality player. And the fact that we had to give up one of our more reliable starting pitchers in Jordan Montgomery to get him, I feel like is a sign that, you know, he was valued highly by the Cardinals. So, you know, it's not like they gave him up for nothing. This is a good one. This is from the Gatekeeper. This is a long email, and this is the type, or long voicemail. This is the type of voicemail I get from time to time where people are, well, just listen for yourself.
Just wanted to leave you a message. I actually enjoyed some of your earlier stuff.
Good to hear.
Some of the highlights.
Always like
highlights.
highlights.
I was actually considering connecting you with some people that I know, former Yankee. I'm good friends with Bucky Dent, also friends with Mario Garza, who's the head of baseball operations for the Yankees, baseball development, excuse me, and also you know, some other people in there. And I was thinking about connecting you, but there's a couple things you need to work on. So
He's
I'm doing
the
this as
Gatekeeper guy.
constructive.
There's things I need to work on.
Some of the goofiness, a little too much with the
I'm too
soundboard
goofy, guys.
stuff. Some's good. You don't want it dry. I understand that. But I have to say, just started watching you go on this rant. Very unprofessional, and you're never going to make it to the next step unless you start, you know, work on it. You have a good voice, and you can do a really good job on things. There are some things that you have.
People take
a lot
their
of work you need to do.
upsetness with
Again,
the Yankees
just
out on me.
constructive criticism. I probably couldn't do a good job at it. You know, you have a great voice. So, you know, I appreciate a lot of things that you do, but you need to cut back on some of the goofiness. I know John Boy went off into the goofiness. So I know there's an appetite for it, but you need to definitely work on it.
Oh, well, allow me to retort.
First of all, this guy didn't leave his name, so I'm just going to say, dude, you're not the Gatekeeper, okay? No disrespect to Bucky Dent, but I made it this far without Bucky Dent. And he referenced John Boy on there and his silliness. Well, John Boy's doing fine. John Boy's got a multi-million-dollar corporation. And I don't compare myself to John Boy because we do different types of things. Also, who says I'm trying to go to the next level? Did you know that YouTube is the #2 website on Earth? It's by far the biggest podcast platform on Earth. And this is a really successful podcast on YouTube. I think it's the 3rd biggest Yankees channel. We got over 10.5 million views. I never have to leave my house. I spend all day hanging out with my dogs, watching movies, working out, and then I talk baseball for 20 minutes after I watch the game. I've got the life that I want, okay? I don't need you to be the gatekeeper. So save it. This clown.
Hi, Derek. Sorry, it's Shane out here in Idaho again, the biggest Yankee fan west of the Mississippi. Yeah, has anybody heard when Cashman and Steinbrenner, Howell, are going to get together and give Hicks a contract, a $500 million contract extension after the day he had today? Man, what a ball player. Man, we got to make sure that guy is a Yankee for the rest of his life. You know, I'm sorry. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but nobody in the coaching major leagues is this bad unless it's on purpose.
Wow. Shane going full conspiracy theory, thinks they're losing on purpose. I don't think they're losing on purpose. I think it's just a matter of incompetence. I think, it's probably a combination of things, actually. It's incompetence at the general manager level, and from there, everything kind of filters downhill, right? They say that SHIT, because I don't want to offend Mr. What's-His-Face, Mr. Gatekeeper's sensibilities. And by the way, I mentioned it, one of my best podcasts of the year in terms of engagement, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. So, hey, look, you got to vent once in a while. If it's not for you, it's not for you. I'm sorry, but you're not the gatekeeper. Anyway, I feel like a lot of the decisions that Brian Cashman makes, they roll downhill and they affect everything beneath them. It's in law, they call it fruit from the poisonous tree, right? If something at the beginning of the case, at the root level of like the investigation or something, is out of whack or inadmissible, it can create a ripple effect that ruins the whole case. And I feel like from the overall strategy that Brian Cashman has put in place, to the coaches he's hired, to the scouts that he takes seriously, to the baseball operations people that he relies on, I feel like there's a lot of decisions that have been made that have just quite frankly been the wrong decision. And because of that, it set off a cascading effect of poor performance, of lots of injuries, poor training, and now it's rippling out into the Yankees fandom. You know that Cashman and Howell, if they're any kind of executives at all, they're aware of what's happening on social media and in the press and on radio shows and on podcasts like this one, that fans are quite upset. And they know this. The question is, what are they going to do to fix it? And can it be fixed? I don't know if trades can do it. I don't know if the Yankees have the assets to give up to trades. And at this point, I don't know if it's worth it to give up the trades. I mean, look, Dominguez, Spencer Jones, Austin Wells, these guys are all probably a year or so from being in the major leagues, maybe a little bit more. I don't know if I want to deal them to have a shot to get knocked out in the ALDS by the Guardians or ALCS by the Astros. Just not worth it.
Yes, my name is Booker, big Yankee fan. Yesterday I was watching and listening to you and Spataz. I guess it was this morning, but it was from an earlier recording. And you were saying why they got rid of Girardi. The reason why they got rid of Girardi is because Cashman wanted to get paid. They got rid of Girardi, and the $25 million that went to Cashman, and some of it should have gone to Girardi, went to Cashman. So he got rid of Girardi and paid himself that 5-year, $25 million contract. That's why they got rid of Girardi. He didn't lose the clubhouse. Girardi was a steady leader, smart, and very capable of mixing analytics and baseball. But they got rid of him so Cashman could get paid.
That's an interesting perspective. I don't know if I agree with it. I think they got rid of Girardi because they wanted to have a softer touch on the players. If you read the book Inside the Empire, they talk a lot about this decision, about how, Girardi was essentially too tough on Gary Sanchez, too tough on some of the other players. They felt like he was too stoic. He didn't care about their lives. But that's not, in my opinion, the manager's job. The manager's job is to be, as we've mentioned, a field general, to be the guy that leads the charge, that's tougher than anybody, the guy that fights for his team. I don't need the manager to come in and give everybody a massage and stoke their ego and talk about what their favorite Pokemon character is or play video games with them. I don't need that. That's what members of your coaching staff are for, right? You should have somebody on the coaching staff who's kind of a liaison between the players and the manager and the management, that finds out what guys are thinking, that finds out, what the temperature of the room is. But the manager's job is to set all that aside and make the smart decisions. And I think about that decision last night with Domingo Germán. This is a kid who's going for his first ever shutout, first ever complete game. And at that, it would have been a Maddox because he probably would have had 100 or less pitches. He's been getting ground balls and soft outs all night. And after he gives up a base hit, you go get him because, quote, he has a home run problem. I mean, there's no way to know this and prove it for sure, but I bet within the next 3 or 4 pitches, he would have gotten a ground ball to shortstop or second, and the game would have been over. And this misery that we suffered would not have happened. But it was just overmanagement. It was overmanagement. There are times when you need to trust your guys and just let them go after it, and last night was one of those times for Domingo Germán. Brandon says, as much as I want Boone gone, Cashman needs to be gone first because he'll pick up another puppet. The root of this problem needs to be fixed. And Scotto says, Boone the apologist. And then Miguel Peralta says he thought by this morning Buffon would be problem or would be fired. And then Jonathan says, I would love Girardi back. We need a real tough manager, not a player's best friend. And I agree with that.
Absolutely, hey.
Now, Mr. Gatekeeper says I use the sounds too much. Maybe I do. But everybody's got to have their own style. I like to accentuate somebody's point when they make a good point by playing the little Jeopardy sound and getting them a little round of applause. Show people recognition for being here. Can I go to the other stuff a little too much once in a while? Sure. But it's my show. And if you don't like it, don't watch. So anyway, guys, we got another game tonight. I'm surprised that I still have a voice right now, but I do. And so I will be back, but just hang in there. It's going to be a tough day. Go get Jack Curry's book. It's about the 98 Yankees and it'll be better times, throw it on, get the voice, the audiobook so you can listen to it. I'm going to be listening to it all day. Maybe we can talk a little bit about it tonight on the show. So I thank everybody who tuned in this morning. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, everybody. If you've made it this far, we thank you. If you'd like to support NYY Recaps, please like and subscribe or pay a visit to our Shopify store for some great Yankees merch.
Yes.
If you're watching on YouTube, the link is in the description. But if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, just visit NYYRecaps.shop. If you really want to support NYY Recaps and help keep the show going year after year, join up as a member. It's $5, and members get their names up in lights during each post-game show. We're also on all podcast platforms, Instagram, and Twitch this year. So give us a follow if you use any of those platforms. We're expanding, and we have you to thank for making this such a great community. We'll see you next time.
It is your destiny.
Case closed. Ball game over.
Most impressive.